Deciding on the right pricing strategy for the award entries is a crucial step for the success of your program. The hardest part is setting the perfect balance. Charge too low and you risk undermining your program's profitability. Charge too high and you can discourage potential entrants. So what's the right answer? In this guide, we'll explore various pricing strategies for optimizing revenue generation while ensuring maximum participation levels. But before we get into the juicy stuff, let's look at the steps you need to take to get that pricing right. Step 1. Calculate your base price. Your base price is the lowest amount someone will pay to participate in your program. Calculate your potential direct, indirect, variable, fixed, and other costs to ensure that you will at least break even. Step 2. Add a markup. Consider important factors such as competition, market trends, special offer strategy, and how much target audience you think would be willing to pay to participate in your program. Step number 3. Plan your special offers. Adding special value propositions like promo codes, discounts, and freebies should also be an important part of your pricing strategy. They are a great way to attract new applicants and retain previous ones, but we will explore them further in future videos. And step number 4 is setting your prices. There are two options for you here, choosing fixed or dynamic prices. Let's explore the differences between them. Fixed prices simplify the budget and pricing structure, which works great with a stable demand for program participation. However, they may lead to missed revenue opportunities if they're set too low and to slower demand if they're set too high. That's because they don't account for fluctuating demand and a sense of urgency for potential buyers. Meanwhile, dynamic prices involve maximizing revenue through strategic yield marketing. It provides an optimal way to sell inventory, whether that's hospitality, event tickets, or award entries. The pricing scheme is usually based on segmentation and research for potential peak sales. In this case, price increases and unexpected discounts can drive demand and prevent potential buyers from getting used to a certain standard price. Our recommendation is to go for dynamic pricing based on segmentation and data about peak sales periods. Remember that the price of a product with a limited time frame fluctuates continuously over time. One simple way of driving demand is increasing the price nearing D-Day and mixing it up with special offers. Alright, you've made your choice and now it's time for the juicy stuff, choosing the best pricing strategy. Let's take a look at some examples. Strategy number 1 is competitive pricing, which involves setting your entry fee based on what your competitors are charging. While matching them is fairly a safe bet, keep in mind that it has its downsides. Difference in prices influences the decision to buy, and consumers are less likely to do so if they're faced with similar items with identical prices. If your organization is a leader in your industry or widely recognized, consider the strategy of premium pricing, where you set higher entry fees. And if your company is small but you still wish to go with this strategy, we would recommend a smaller markup because it would be more effective during your organization's growth period. The opposite strategy is called economy pricing, which is where you adopt lower prices to increase your participation rates. It can be a good option if you're able to minimize your costs enough to afford such low prices. Usually, this strategy is great for attracting participants, but it may not bring significant revenue. The last one is our favorite, and it's called psychology pricing, and here you use a mix of marketing techniques to drive sales. The main idea here is to entice your applicants to make a purchase by appealing to them on a more emotional as opposed to rational level. And before we end our guide, we want to give you some tips on influencing price perception, which is another key element in the price setting process. Tip number 1, reduce the left digit by 1 and complete the whole number with 99. This is a simple yet effective way to make your price seem lower. Tip number 2, use prices with fewer syllables. People unconsciously perceive prices with fewer syllables as less expensive. So, although it may seem a bit weird, test how your price sounds before you commit. Tip number 3, remove all unnecessary characters and zeros to simplify the price. Tip number 4, use words like small, tiny, minimal, low, little to imply a small magnitude. Tip number 5 is for those of you who have multiple price packages. Arrange them from highest to lowest, as the first price becomes a reference point and affects perception. Tip number 6, use a call to action to trigger applicants to register. And our last tip is to use promotional sale indicators. For example, badges and attention-grabbing text, which can prompt a response from potential buyers. Sometimes a higher price with a special sales indicator can outperform a lower price without one. I know we went through a lot of information in this video, but setting the right prices is essential for the success of your program. And now you have all the strategies to do it right.